today. Wait a minute.
You ready?
I'm good. We're gonna make it work. I feel like I'm gonna get you sucker today.
What is up, y'all? We are back in the building. We are here. You know, we had last week off, right? We celebrated our independence. You had your flags waving? You had your Blue Lives Matter flag.
Oh,
she had a red, white, and blue outfit. Head to toe.
I'm not even fucking American.
And the sneakers to match.
Looking like Cameron.
Was on the balcony shooting
I definitely
fireworks.
was banging the Dipset anthem, I'll tell you that.
But yeah, but we had, I thought, you know, the interviews that we dropped.
Why me? Like,
what? No,
we
you're MAGA Muslim. We just
yeah.
jumping with you. We just jumping. You know.
And our diversity of thought.
Of all the people who were not born in this country, raise your hand. What the fuck would I have a flag on for?
Because you MAGA.
Did you celebrate Canada Day?
I didn't.
Yeah, fuck them too. So anyway,
I did want to have some poutine though.
So, but we are back. We're here. I'm Jasiri X. I'm co-founder, CEO of One Hood Media. And to my immediate rights,
it's a miracle.
What's up? It's your girl, Miriam. AK, Big Blessing with the Big Blessing. Having a lovely like 70s vibe day today.
I like that.
Turning it up.
I like that 70s vibe. My brother?
You know, it's your boy Trevor on the next level speeding. You know what I'm saying? Not really, you feel me? But, you know, we out here driving.
We out here whipping the whips. You know what I'm saying? I'm hype. I'm hype about that. And, sir?
The one that always seems to find himself in somebody's business. I don't know why. You know,
you're always in somebody's business.
If someone's always in mine, I don't know.
Somebody's in
Are you
your
in
business?
your feelings right now?
No, I had nothing to do with you, actually.
Oh, wow.
Are you in your feelings? I didn't ask anything about me.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Are you?
I'm in my skin.
But people are in your feelings. People are in your feelings.
I mean, somebody upset at me. I don't know. I didn't do nothing.
I mean, bro, you know, that's
all I
kind
did
of
was
the
I came
nature.
to work, man.
I mean, but that's why they're upset, because of who you work for. Because they work for One Hood, man.
But you know, it's me, the full-time supervillain, part-time hater. You know what I mean?
I thought we were gonna have to do like an intervention right quick. Like, are you okay?
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah,
I'm actually phenomenal. I woke up this morning, alhamdulillah.
Okay. Yeah.
I just had a protein bar. It was very tasty.
Okay.
You don't gotta lie to yourself.
Why are you wishing bad things upon
Because
me?
them protein bars are not good. And y'all be lying. Oh, it tastes like cookie dough. Oh, it tastes like a brownie. Oh, it's so... No, this nasty and tastes like grains. You don't gotta lie, friend.
There was no grains in there.
Tastes like earth. Yes.
Oh, shit.
How does chocolate taste like earth?
First of all, that protein is what make it taste
disgusting.
disgusting.
The inside of it.
Yes. They try to trick you with the outside. And you're like, oh, it's okay.
Fine to me.
So we've had it's interesting because when you think of the 4th of July, a lot of times people, and you know, the 4th of July.
July.
Are you saying?
July.
Wait, you can't say. Oh, I was about to say. I thought that you were going someplace
It's
else.
like Julie.
Yes.
Okay.
A lot of times we reflect on America's history. I missed it.
What is wrong with you?
I didn't say it.
Not again.
I didn't say anything.
I missed it.
I was just like,
it was probably the QAnon situation.
Wow.
Does it mean queer?
LGBTQ.
During the 4th of July, oftentimes we reflect on.
I didn't know. I didn't know
the history of America. Right? We reflect on America's history.
Yes.
And we think about, you know, and so obviously it's complicated for Black people because that history didn't include us. That history had us as 3/4 of a people. That history has us enslaved for many years.
3/5.
3/5 of a people. Yes.
I mean, either way you freak it, it's still bad. But
And that history had a lot of massacres that took place. One of the most well-known being the Tulsa Massacre. But so, you know, right now in Oklahoma, they have a guy that's the head of their public school system. He's the superintendent. He's somebody that's a big fan of Donald Trump. He's one of these racist right-wing Republicans. And so he was asked about, okay, if there's no CRT, if there's no analysis around race, how can you teach the Tulsa Massacre? And he had a response to that.
Not only did he have a response, he had Jesus Christ.
Audacity.
May
The
God,
way he had.
the caucasity.
The caucasity.
May God help us all.
And his name is Ryan Walters. Let's put his name out there.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, Ryan Walters is a raging bigot, and here we go.
Massacre not fall under your definition of CRT?
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't address that part.
So look.
I would never tell a kid that because of your race, because of your color of your skin, or your gender, or anything like that, you are less of a person or are inherently racist. That doesn't mean you don't judge the actions of individuals. Oh, you can absolutely. Historically, you should. This was right. This was wrong. They did this for this reason. But to say
What
it
was
was
the
inherent
reason?
in the, because of their skin is
What was
where
the
I say
reason?
that is critical race theory. You're saying that a race defines a person. I reject that. So I would say you be judgmental of the issue, of the action, of the content, of the character of the individual. Absolutely. But let's not tie it to the skin color and say that the skin color determined that.
One more follow-up. How does the Tulsa Race Massacre not fall under your definition of CRT?
I answered it. That's my answer. And again, I felt
The
like
Tulsa Race Massacre was a race massacre. How does it not fall under CRT?
I've answered your question. I do appreciate, very respectful.
The 100 years of silence was about race. How does that not fall? How does that not qualify for CRT?
I appreciate your question. I'm going to give some other people some.
He was like, yo, I'm
Tulsa
about to get
race.
this.
I appreciate when people show up to these conservative places.
Yes.
And push back and be, bro, this is stupid.
Yes. Yes. It's literally called the Tulsa Race Massacre. That's the name of it.
They were talking about Grand Prix. It was NASCAR, bro. Bootlegging or something. I don't know. Like that.
And it's like, but again, this is the idea, or this is the mentality of why for hundreds of years, children that went to school in Tulsa, Oklahoma were not taught about this history. And so to actually say or believe or, white-splain, is that what he's doing? To
whitewash.
To whitewash, right. To say like, oh, these were just bad people and they did this to them. Well, why? Why were they mad?
I do want to say in response to what he was saying, because I agree when he says race doesn't define people, but I disagree with his use of that statement.
Right.
Because what he's essentially saying is that because race doesn't define people, we don't have to talk about the place race takes in American history.
Correct.
But it's like, while race doesn't define people, it does define a practice.
Yes.
That has been evident since the start of this shit.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like we need to start separating the two. Yes, it doesn't define the people, it defines the practice, and we need to talk about that practice so people are aware of how it takes place in their everyday life.
100%. But also too, it's like if something is defined as a race massacre, and by all accounts, I mean, there are people still alive that were victims of the race massacre. By all accounts, these black people were attacked by white supremacists because they were black people that had wealth, that had money, and white people didn't like that, right? To say have a conversation around the killing of Emmett Till and take out race. Oh, he's some kid whistled at a woman. These people didn't like it, so he was killed. And take the context of race out of it is to actually you're lying at that point.
Real shit.
You're not teaching the truth. You're not actually letting people know the truth. But at the same time, because the history falls against a lot of this ideology that these white men are trying to bring into, the ideology is the same. The ideology that led to the Tulsa Race Massacre is one that Ryan Walters, I would say, he possesses, which is why he doesn't want the Tulsa Race Massacre taught, because that same practice, not only is it happening today, but he's participating actively in that same practice. Miracle, is there anything what do we do when like this guy is the head of all of the schools in Oklahoma?
So my family,
We just moved.
no, we just you have to stay. Not everyone is able to flee and has the privilege to move out of the grasp of white supremacy. But one of the things that my family would do, we would watch Mississippi Burning, we would watch Rosewood, we would watch a lot of these movies and documentaries about the racism that happened and occurred. A part of it because a lot of members of my family have been directly impacted. People have been disappeared by the Klan. And so we had ongoing conversations about what the history of this country actually means and how it shows up. And I think a lot of people in Oklahoma are really wrestling with, one, I don't want to know because I don't want to be responsible, because at the same time, there are people who were suing, trying to get reparations for what happened to the community was called the Greenwood community. And the judge just this week basically said, no, you cannot get your reparations and you cannot bring this lawsuit for the city and the government to pay you for your pain and suffering. Because a lot of there's a few survivors of this massacre who are still alive today.
Right.
And so that's also a part of it, is people do not want to be accountable and responsible for the pain and harm they've caused to Black people. And a lot of the fight around education is because a lot of people still have rights to these wrongs that were done to them, and people do not want Black people getting reparations.
Right.
That's why even, in California, where people are talking about doing reparations, there are organizations popping up to push back and say, hey, no, this wasn't about race. And even if it was about race, we need to just move past it, because people don't really care about the livelihoods of Black people. And I always find it interesting that we preach accountability and responsibility for all communities, except when it's time for people to be accountable for Black people and the harm they've done to Black lives.
Right. Because if I teach that white people actually did this because of race, then the question is, okay, well, how is this being repaired? Right. And it is wild that the same week that he mentions this, it says an Oklahoma judge dismissed the reparation lawsuit filed by the last 3 known survivors of the Tulsa Race Massacre on Friday. And so, like, on one hand, you're saying, oh, you can teach about what happened in Tulsa, but you can't teach children that skin color had anything to do with it. These are just bad people and good people, quote unquote. And at the same time, it's, oh, well, why? So we don't have to pay reparations to these last 3 known survivors of the race massacre. Did you have a comment, Farouk?
You don't get to have plausible deniability when it comes to matters of Black people. I don't like.
I mean, you can have it, but it's some bullshit.
It really is. But it's just fucking wild to me. Like, remember when what was that? The Watchmen came out.
Yes.
And they opened up with the Tulsa Massacre.
Yes.
And I
mad
remember
people didn't know.
White people thought it was fake.
They thought it was not real.
They like, there's no way this, like, a lot of white people took to social media, like, there's no way this could have happened.
Right.
And
they
we
were like
didn't know
mad.
about it. Yeah.
They were mad.
And then some people, and I'm just like, this was one of those times where I think I took for granted, like, the way I grew up, having the parents that I did teach me about certain things, because I knew about that. And it's just like, wow, you actually live in a completely different reality to where you don't have to answer for something that just happened 100 years ago, that your relatives participated in, that you still have people that you could visit that were alive, that were killing Black people, burning things, shooting people, setting things on fire, all that were in your family photos, right? Yeah. And the fact that, today we look at this as just something that's just another piece of history that just gets conveniently brushed under the rug because, like Miracle said, no one wants to take accountability for it.
Right.
Like, it's so fucking infuriating to have this conversation again and again and again and again just to come up with the same conclusion that, no, you don't get anything for this.
And mind you,
there's no recompense for you whatsoever.
And mind you, the 3 plaintiffs, Leslie Benningfield Randall is 108.
Right. She's still alive.
Viola Fletcher is 109.
Right.
And her brother, Hugh Van Ellis, is 102. So these are 3 people, centuries, right? Triple digit ages So I do want to come to you, Miracle, because it said that basically the plaintiffs argued, this is on some legal stuff, that the damage inflicted during the massacre was a public nuisance from the start, and that others have gained from the exploitation of the massacre. That's obvious. But the city said that, simply being connected to an historical event does not provide a person with unlimited rights to seek compensation. Is it that Tulsa shouldn't get it? Should obviously deserve compensation. From who does it come from, and from where?
It could have came from the city.
True,
because if you read the historical accounts and narratives, police were involved in this massacre. Government officials were involved in this massacre, and even after, the city was involved in taking some of the land and giving it to other people. So the city could have been held liable, but the judge was like, we're just moving this on.
Right.
And I don't want to hear this case, because what people are really afraid of is precedent. If you do it for Tulsa, you're going to have to do it for all these other places.
Yeah,
and the
St. Louis, it was race massacres all over the country.
But the big issue that people are going to start thinking about is gentrification. And the next big thing is designating communities as high crime areas, then going in and taking and stealing of land.
Yeah.
And so this is what a lot of these race massacres, even talk about the Salem witch trials, a lot of these horrible things that happen are attached to the who gets to own land and who gets to claim property as their own. And when you don't want a woman to own land, if you don't want a black person to own land, what do? You find ways to kill them, to lynch them, to murder them.
You don't want indigenous people to own the land.
You take it. And so this is what they're fighting over. It's not just about racism. It's the fact that they don't want people to own property, to own this land. And that's even to think about a lot of those black farmers who, like, after 15 years are now able to get like investments and support for their land. They do not want these folks to own land. And even in my home state of Georgia, they're trying to condemn farmers' land so they can build another highway. This is something that always happens. Breonna Taylor, they always do these things to take our land, to build up on it. And if we let Tulsa, that means in 50 years, Breonna Taylor's family gets to sue again for another issue. And so people in East Liberty can sue the city of Pittsburgh.
It's interesting because at the same time, you had the city of Memphis trying to dismiss the lawsuit against them filed by Tyree Nichols' family. And basically the city of Memphis is trying to say, oh, that's on them officers. That's not on us. As if the city of Memphis didn't employ them, didn't support them, didn't back them. So it is interesting to watch it take place.
Because they'll have qualified immunity and they still won't get any money.
Right.
And so you're starting to see a pattern, and a lot of it is these conservative judges trying to dismiss these lawsuits because it's costing people so much money.
Yeah.
But there's no remedy. And my thing is, if you start to take away the financial remedy that people have when they have been accosted by the state, you're going to create a situation where people are going to be like, oh, if the state going to get me, somebody going to get it. And it's going to cause more chaos. So I'm hoping that the city of Memphis does right by the Tyree Nichols family, settles out of court, and moves on.
And it's fascinating because it's like this attempt to change history. Like if you change the history and take race out of it, then there's no need for reparations, right? Mm-hmm. You don't deserve reparations, get reparations because, it was just, oh, that's those bad people's fault. This wasn't any type of systematic piece. This wasn't like a group of people that actually came together and kind of planned this. And there was a similar conversation where you had a case on CNN where, is he a senator? Is Tommy Tuberville a senator?
Yes,
I think he's out of Alabama.
Used to be a coach.
Was doing an interview on CNN, and basically what he had said, he had made a comment basically saying, I don't consider these people white. I don't call these people white nationalists. And it was around like somebody asked him, like, should white nationalists be allowed in the military? And he was like, I don't call those people white nationalists. Those are Americans. And he's right.
You can't distinguish between the two.
That's hard. It's hard. things between Americans and white nationalists. You know what I'm saying?
You mean they're not the same? I didn't know.
So he did an interview on CNN where he was asked directly about white nationalism.
By a white person. who's presumably a white American woman.
Yes. And his answer is pretty interesting, to say the least. Can we play this Tommy Tuberville clip?
I just love how CNN is trying to pivot to the right.
Yes.
Like, Americans need to know this. No,
Yes.
we don't.
Yes.
No, we don't.
All right, here we go.
Conservatives, Democrats, whoever wants to be in the military to fight for this country, to protect this country. That's what it's all about.
You got an ill
But
voice.
just to be clear, you agree that white nationalists should not be serving in the U.S. military. Is that what you're saying?
That's not what he said.
If people think that a white nationalist is a racist, I agree with that. I agree they
A white
should.
nationalist is someone who believes that the white race is superior to other races.
Well, that's some people's opinion, and I don't think. I mean,
not
a lot.
opinion.
That's the
Pardon?
definition.
What's your opinion?
My opinion of a white nationalist, if somebody wants to call him white nationalist, to me is an American. It's an American. Now, if that white nationalist is a racist, I'm totally against anything that they want to do.
Do you
because
know what
I
these
am
words mean?
110% against racism. But I want somebody that's in our military, that's strong, that believes in this country,
That hates
that's
niggers.
an American, that will fight along anybody,
Hates black,
whether it's
brown
man or
people.
woman,
And all
black
kinds
or
of
white,
niggas.
red. It doesn't make any
Yes.
difference.
I love
Globally.
that.
And so
Global
I'm
niggas.
totally against identity politics. I think it's ruining this country, and I think that Democrats ought to be ashamed for how they're doing this, because it's dividing this country and it's making this country weaker every day.
But that's not identity politics. You said
Thank you. Like,
Wait, keep playing.
Conservatives, Democrats,
identity politics. You said a white nationalist is an
it
American.
is identity politics.
You said a white nationalist is an American, but a white nationalist is someone who believes horrific things. Do you really think that's someone who should be serving in the military?
Like,
Well, that's just a
yes.
name that it's been given. I mean,
It's not.
listen,
It's a real definition. There's real concerns
so if
about
you're going to do away
extremism.
with most white people in this country out of the military, we got huge problems.
So most
got
white
huge
people
problems.
People
are
who are white. It's white
Yes,
nationalists.
Miracle, he's right.
That have a few probably
You see the
different
distinction,
beliefs.
right?
That have different beliefs. Now, if racism is one of those beliefs, I'm totally against it. I am totally against racism.
But that
there's
is
a lot
that
of
is
people
a white,
that
a
believe
white
in different
nationalist
things.
is racist, Senator.
Well, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. But if
not
it's
an opinion.
racism, I'm totally against it. I am totally against
The
any
white-
type of race, or
the
any type of
whitewashing.
racism. I don't care what it's in.
Okay, Senator Tommy
You know
Tuberville.
how she was like, I'm going to do this most softball question.
Yes.
It's going to be
Yes.
a home run.
It's easy.
It's going to be a win. White nationalism.
Yes.
Very specific.
Very specific.
Not even white people.
Yes.
White nationalists.
White nationalists.
Not even white conservatives.
Yes.
White nationalists.
Yes.
The implication of the name means that you believe that the nation
Yes.
that you're
Very-
talking about should be ubiquitous.
Yes.
And white.
Yes.
By default.
Yes.
Racist.
Yes.
By default.
Well, I mean,
like-
White nationalists believe that
Yes.
we should rape and murder people.
Ergo,
and make a white
ergo,
race.
white supremacists.
Yes. But what's wild is, like Miracle said, not only did she give him the easiest question, she then defined maybe this guy, she's hearing him talk, saying, like, okay, he actually doesn't know what the definition is. Let me help this man. Right. Hey, you know the definition of white nationalism is a person that believes that white people are superior to every other race.
So that's your definition.
That's your opinion.
That's your opinion.
No, it's Webster's opinion. Mike.
It's not someone who believes in the American ideal. It's not an American nationalist.
Right. No.
According to this definition,
It's half a dozen of 112 of the other, if you
I'm
ask
trying
me.
to think about like how he's processing.
Yes.
And it's like, sir, it's not someone who's associated with America.
Yes.
But it's this idea that you think that like the white nationalists are this violent movement who's ready to go to war for America because
Yes.
they're like doing all of these practice drills and they're in
Yeah.
the woods getting buff
Yeah.
and stuff. And it's like,
Yes.
No, that's not what it is. And also, it's why he's not going to condemn it because they're all up and through Alabama. And these are
yes.
the people that he supports.
They
and
voted
the
for
people
him.
that
Yes.
vote for him.
Yes. He represents them. And
I believe he knew full well what the definition
Of
is.
course he does.
Just
Of course
like you
he
said,
does.
he's just not going to, disparage his constituency.
100%. It's interesting. Senator Chuck Schumer said the definition of white nationalism is not a matter of opinion. White nationalism, the ideology that one race is inherently superior to others, that people of color should be segregated, subjugated to second-class citizenship, is racist down to its rotten core. For the senator from Alabama to obscure the racist nature of white nationalism is indeed very, very dangerous. But like you said, these aren't dumb people.
No, I mean, and
they know what they're doing.
He was even comfortable. We said, if you want to call me a white nationalist, go ahead. Like, you know the definition.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Like, you're aware of it, and you're comfortable enough to be on live television and say, you can call me a white nationalist 100%. If it fits your definition.
But I'm not racist.
But I'm not racist.
Not only that I'm not racist, I'm 110%.
I hate when white people say that shit.
But you could argue.
And you know why? Because he coached a bunch of black players.
And treated them differently.
Yeah.
Because he needed to save them. But, we're going to put that to
it's
the
like,
side.
Maybe in his mind, he can't be racist because he doesn't see black people as humans. He only sees one race. So it's like, I can't be racist. I don't acknowledge your humanity.
All I see is white.
Yeah, all I see is white.
All I see is white, no matter what.
Like a Pusha T lyric, man.
I'm sorry.
I think we gotta add that as a reference. Be like, this is what it's referencing.
Oh yeah. Some people it's a song by DJ Khaled because all we do is win. I'm just sorry. Yes.
But I think it's also people don't know the difference between black nationalists and black separatists.
True.
And that's also they're like, oh, well, black nationalists believe in black love and black unity. And it's like, no, we believe in like black equity and black equality.
Yes.
Black separatists are people who believe that black people should be separate.
Correct.
From white people, and black people are superior than all of the races.
Yes.
There's different terminology, and that's why it's very important to learn.
However, if you pointed out to Tommy Tuberville or any one of these white people, a person that has been given the title of black nationalist, right? They would say those people are anti-white. They would say that. Absolutely. Right. They're quick to say that's anti-white. This is anti-white. That's anti-white. But then they'll still say like a white nationalist is not somebody that's anti-black, brown, or racist.
Because I don't hate nobody. Because I'm not racist.
Right, because I'm
110% not a racist.
Miracle, there's not a racist bone in my entire body.
Because the bones are white.
It's ironic to hear him say that, like, her operating definition of white nationalism is just her opinion. But it's like, bro, you're not even acknowledging that you know the operating definition. So therefore, what you're saying is an opinion.
Yeah, and I think that's what we were saying earlier. Is like he's aware of the definition.
Yeah.
And if it was a transgender soldier, he'd be like, "Nah,
100%,
absolutely not."
But the wild part is, it's like when they say he's saying the quiet part out loud, he's letting you know, like, no, to me, a white nationalist, because white people, when it comes to identity politics, I mean, these white people are. They're repping whiteness at an all time. I mean, they're just coming right out with just racist whiteness, and it's becoming mainstream, right? This is what he said later on. This is what he said.
Did he say this on CNN?
No, it says subsequently he told reporters that he looks at, quote, at a white nationalist as a Trump Republican, adding, that's what we're called all the time. You're right.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Yes.
Again, it's 12 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Is a Trump Republican in most cases.
6 of one. I'm sorry. Yeah, I've been fucking that statement.
So that's the thing. It's like if you're if you're 100% not racist, if you're just not a
110% not racist,
right? If you're no racist bones in your body, why do all the racists rock with you? Like, isn't that weird? If you're so against racism, why do all the racists vote for you, promote you, support you, donate to your campaign? That's the whole thing about Trump. It's like all of the racist Nazis love Trump. Why is that?
That's like me saying, yeah, I don't do gang affiliation, but every time you see me at the rallies, everyone behind me got blue flags on.
100%.
I'm seeing my constituents.
That's just community.
Yes.
That's just community.
Yes. It's like, oh, I'm not affiliated. Well, are you affiliated with a gang? That's your opinion. I don't. That's your opinion. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
What is the gang?
But what happens to us? We get hit with the RICO.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so they're allowed to do. So it's just like, I mean. Really, like Tommy Tuberville is speaking truth out loud. And this is the other wild part. He's going to suffer zero consequences for basically defending white nationalists on a national TV interview as a sitting senator and saying that white nationalists are Trump Republicans. He gets there's no backlash. There's no consequences. Nobody's going to do no rallies outside of his office. Nobody's going to call for him to resign. You know what I'm saying? That's the wild part. Like, y'all are, meanwhile, like, you're attacking, like, a Summer Lee as a congresswoman, but no one is going to come out and attack a man that outright says, yo, I rock with white nationalists. Miracle?
And even to go back to the superintendent's point of view, talking about the behaviors for the senator who has benefited from his policies and who has been harmed the most.
Yes.
When you're looking at why they call us a white nationalist all the time, were you trying to kick Muslim people out of the country?
Yes.
Were you trying to kick Haitian people out of the country?
100%.
Were you trying to make sure that black people didn't get to have food, access to food within your state? Were you making sure that black families were not able to be supported? What policies have you put forth that even by your own are race neutral so they won't have a negative impact on black people? And this is even when people use their own race neutral tests, these senators are failing. Yeah. And that's why you're calling them white nationalists.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, like what happens is now, like white nationalism has gone mainstream. And we saw that recently with the Moms of Liberty.
Moms for Hitler.
Well, or no, they've been dubbed Planned Parenthood.
That's fucking brilliant.
Planned Parenthood is crazy. Like, again, who's writing this on Twitter? Like, can we get these people, some jobs? So Planned Parenthood had their conference. Now, remember, we talked about the Moms of Liberty in Indiana putting a newsletter out that the first quote, big bold letters. They said, who could we get to set the tone for our first newsletter?
Mein Führer.
Adolf Hitler. Again, so like at that point, what are you reading?
I'm so mad.
How do you know that quote so well? But anyway, again, right. So they apologized for it, but at the Moms of Liberty conference, some of these folks wasn't feeling these apologies.
There is always a bridge. There is always a reason. There's always a reason why something happens. Right? Yes. One of our moms in a newsletter quotes Hitler. Woo! I stand with that mom.
Yes. So you heard, she says one of our moms, yes, Miracle, quoted Hitler. Woo!
I'm just...
It was the woo. Just the woo. Like Leonardo DiCaprio walked on stage and quoted Hitler. Like, again.
One of our moms in a newsletter quotes Hitler. Woo!
People are vile.
They're cheering. Man. They're cheering for the mom that quoted Hitler, and then she says, I stand with that mom. So they're telling, like, yo, you know what they say?
You know who else she would have stood for? The SS. She would have stood for the Holocaust.
Miracle. They're playing in our face.
They're not playing in our face. They're showing who they really been.
Yes.
But a part of me is like, I wish that black people would kind of do the same thing, because a lot of times we like, you know what? That person messed up. That person said something they weren't supposed to.
Yes.
And then we're like, we got to condemn this person. We got to condemn this person.
Yes.
A Muslim person does something.
Yes.
We got to condemn this person. We got to condemn this person.
Yes.
A trans person does something. We got to condemn. These people are like, nah, they did it.
Yeah.
And I'm rocking with them.
Yes.
That's my man. I'm sticking beside him.
Yes.
And it's just like, they don't have to have any type of accountability, because they are vile and violent.
Yes.
And their whole purpose is to bring harm to black, brown, and queer communities.
Come on, man.
And instead of saying this is a violent white supremacist organization, you can be like, oh, these are just moms who care about education.
They're just moms, and just joyful moms.
And we have said this for years. These women came to power because they wanted their kids to die from COVID.
Yes.
Because they didn't want their kids in their homes. They wanted them in schools unmasked.
Yes.
They did not care if people were going to die.
Yes.
They said, get this child out of my house. And then once the child was out of their house, they're like, and give him only a white education, which is why they also put the 14 words, securing this future for our white children.
Yeah.
And no one wants to call them white nationalists until they are now saying it themselves. Well,
that's your opinion, Miracle.
Went to this conference and they were like, oh, now you're shocked?
Yeah.
They're boasting Hitler. Now you're appalled?
But again, now mind you, Miracle, at the conference, who was there and spoke? Donald Trump spoke. Ron DeSantis spoke, right? Nikki Haley spoke. Like, all of these individuals spoke, and again, they're not going to be held accountable for standing with these.
None of the food there that was catered had flavor in.
And the North Carolina governor, dude.
Right.
Is just like,
okay, right. And so, speaking of
Mark Robinson,
yes. Wait, Miracle. So, speaking of Mark Robinson, when he was there, he's running for governor of North Carolina. This is a straight up sellout black man. What did he say?
Some bullshit.
He said, y'all gotta read.
Wait, what did he say? It's crazy.
He said,
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
Whether you're talking about Adolf Hitler, whether you're talking about Chairman Mao, whether you're talking about Stalin, whether you're talking about Pol Pot, whether you're talking about Castro in Cuba, or whether you're talking about a dozen other despots all around the globe, it is time for us to get back and start reading some of those quotes. And here's the
thing.
But why? Mark?
He's saying that at a conference where their whole platform is to get you not to read any of these quotes.
That is true. That is crazy.
What he's talking about. Because are we supposed to read Castro or not?
Yes.
Are we supposed to read about the Chicano movement or not?
Absolutely
I am very confused about what I'm supposed to be reading.
You're supposed to read Mein Kampf, and that's it. Mein Kampf and the Bible. Those are the only two acceptable books.
Now we're supposed to read Chairman Mao. Now it's okay for us to be communist. Like, is that okay for us to read now? Because just 2 weeks ago you were trying to ban all those books from the shelf.
Come on, Miracle.
What is the actual theory that we need to be following and fighting?
What is going on? And I mean, it's fascinating because again, Moms of Liberty will still be doing their thing. They're still be dealt with in the media as like, oh, they're just a group of moms. I guess, and I was going to say maybe until they stormed the Capitol, but that happened, and there's still not any real consequences.
They're still scraping shit off the wall.
And I will take this moment to shout out my moms at Red, Wine, and Blue who have been fighting back. And my grandfathers, I think it's grandparents for Truth Education as well, who've been fighting back and organizing because they understand the importance of actual education and teaching the truth. For me, again, I don't have a child, but I do think it's very important to teach people accurate history because I think there's a lesson you can learn from history. You can learn and be like, this is what happened when we practice racism. We're better than this, and this is how we can come together, learn, grow, and achieve. Because I think, to me, the American ideal and the American story still has not yet been told and written, and we can literally rewrite it and say, you know what, we messed up. Yeah. We did these things to all of these people, but we're still a country of promise and opportunity. And if we do right by our people and we do right by our most vulnerable, we can be the greatest yet. And instead, we're repeating history. Like every 100 years, history
because everybody seemed to have such a good time. They was like, why not do it again?
We gotta die the plague again. We gotta have locusts again. Like, why can't we just learn? Like, I don't understand.
Well, Miracle, the problem with history is that if you know the real history, you wouldn't be able to make comparisons with yourself and one of the greatest civil rights figures.
Nicely done. Very nicely done.
In history, Miracle.
That was an amazing segue.
For an alternative history, you know who our Rosa Parks today is, Miracle?
Oh.
Did you know who that is today? It's George Santos, Miracle. Did you not know that?
Not my bestie.
Can you play his quote, please?
Reluctantly, yes.
Wonderful.
I can't believe this. Just wait till, if you haven't heard it, you about to sit down, get some water,
scam toast,
get something.
Just for background,
the scam god
background information. George Santos is a congressman from New York. He's
from Brazil.
Is he?
George Santos.
We don't even know what's his name.
It's George's real name.
He represents New York, right? He's a congressman who represents New York.
Yes.
Has had a very colored
but what's his nationality?
Past about scamming.
Where was his mom on 9/11?
She was on the bus next to Rosa
lied
Parks.
about a whole bunch of information about his ethnicity, his identity, what he did, his parents did, and now is facing some charges about falsifying documents and related to the PPP, right? A PPP loan, and some applications. But here is George's point of view.
George Santos.
For me, I go right back for them because I think for far too long they've gotten away with getting along to get along.
They've gotten away with
it's not going to stay that way anymore. I'm going to call them out. You want to call me a liar? I'll call you a sellout. I mean, Mitt Romney, the man goes to the State of the Union of the United States wearing a Ukraine lapel pin, tells me, a Latino gay man, that I shouldn't sit in the front, that I should be in the back. Well, guess what? Rosa Parks didn't sit in the back, and neither am I going to sit in the back. That's just the reality of how it works. Mitt Romney.
And so for understanding, when you are a freshman congressperson, you sit in the back because the people with seniority are sitting in the front.
And if you have lied about your mom, your partner, how you got your money,
can we just have a moment?
Your own name?
And
like maybe you shouldn't be in the front. Like, I don't know.
And you can also ask to sit in the front, be people's guests. In addition, because the cameras usually face people in the front, if you are someone who's more controversial for your party, you're also asked to sit in the back. So if you're someone who has lied about your family member being 9/11, if you're someone who's been accused of stealing, if you're someone who's allegedly, dating someone who has been accused of dating someone who was once a minor, you probably just go in the back so people don't have to be guilty by association.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things, but George said, if you come for me, I'm coming for you. Shout out to him watching Real Housewives of Atlanta and being a Kenya fan. And it's hilarious how this man's mind works.
Yeah. And all, the importance of teaching an appropriate version of history, the real version of history, is to keep us from having these reductive statements of just just really reducing Rosa Parks as just some meme.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And that's why, the audacity for him, it doesn't matter if you're gay or Latino, whatever, that's fine.
Yes.
But using Rosa Parks as just a talking point to liken your situation to hers is horrid.
100%.
You know what I mean? And that's why we need to have authentic conversations around race.
Yeah.
Because it's you're just relegating us to these blips, these bullet points that aren't even accurate.
But again, how do you have an accurate conversation about race when you can't even bring up race as a reason why hundreds of black people were massacred in Tulsa?
I'm 110% not racist. That's why.
So I mean, that's the dichotomy. That's where we're at right now. Is that these white racists don't want to have an honest conversation. They don't want to have a conversation rooted in facts, rooted in reason, and rooted in intelligence. How do you know? Well, look at who their champions are. Donald Trump is their champ. He is a known liar, scammer, manipulator, philanderer, all of those words. He's known at it.
This is brought out a 1960s word. A philanderer.
Siri he literally be gagged. Why do they follow this man?
Right. But I'm saying,
this man is horrible.
Well, but it's also his whole identity is rooted in falsehood. The whole identity of Donald Trump, the whole identity of George Santos, right? The idea that the Tulsa Race Massacre didn't have anything to do with race. The idea that these moms are just want parents' rights, and it's not rooted in racism. It's not rooted in homophobia, Islamophobia, all these things. It's rooted. It's a lie. It's a lie. So then here, if I come to you with the actual facts, right? If I come to you with truth and intelligence and reason and real history and real definitions, you'll say, "Oh, that's just your opinion, man. That ain't real. That's just your opinion." And then we can't have an actual conversation. Because you're not even willing to acknowledge that words have a definition and mean. You're cheering for Hitler.
Yeah.
They're mentioning Hitler and you're screaming like Taylor Swift walked on the stage.
Facts.
Like, how can then we have a real conversation? At the point where you cheering for Hitler, I can't sit down with you as a black person, as a black Muslim, and think I'm going to get treated with some type of fairness and equality and respect.
It's wild that we can't even teach our children about racial context and history.
No.
But they can have whole rallies where they mention, quote, and cheer for Hitler.
Yes.
Shit makes no sense.
Because you don't remember, he taught himself how to read, man. He pulled himself up by his bootstraps.
Not only that, but whole rallies that are corporate sponsored and supported, whole rallies that the biggest GOP candidates are there embracing this. This is what I'm saying. Like, they're embracing these ideologies. They're letting us know straight up, this is what we're doing. Check this out, Treble. Did you know this? Did you know that Donald Trump went on Truth Social and shared Obama's address?
Oh.
And that a guy who got busted at the January 6th riots showed up to that house with 2 guns and over 100 rounds?
Fuck Donald Trump.
So this happened. Like, it wasn't even big news. It was just another thing Trump did. Like, it wasn't even, like, this did not disqualify him in any way. And with these criminals, they're more interested in voting for him.
But then imagine if Obama shared Trump's address and was like, I don't know what to do.
And some Black Panthers showed up, right?
You know what I'm saying?
With guns.
Like,
could you imagine that?
Or I showed up.
Is that before a job interview?
So,
Where were you when he was in trial? Here. Not on the show. Can you put in a word for me? Can you give me a letter recommendation?
Now you want a job reference.
She said, go show up with his resume.
I'm telling you. Wait till Trump comes to Pennsylvania.
Oh my God.
Farouk is going to be his hype man.
Oh my God.
You're going to be right there with me. Miracle will be right there.
Oh my God! Again, and so
listen, is what the Commonwealth needs.
Just to get that was crazy. But to continue on, right? You had. I don't want to say speaking of Farouk, but when you said, it made me think of it made me think of that Fresh and Fit podcast. Like, here are.
The worst niggas on the internet.
Yes, the terrible. Are they? I guess they're black in some way, capacity. Are they? Where are they from?
Yeah, no. What are they?
What are they? Something.
I honestly thought they're not black.
Listen, I've been taking black. Remember, I get people's black cards. No, they're not black.
I'm telling you from right now, they ain't black. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't know that.
From this moment on.
Oh,
but
okay, yeah. No. What are they though?
I don't know. I mean, we don't care enough.
Confused.
Yes, we don't care enough. But they definitely not black.
Your boss wasn't no gangster. He was just another lost nigga.
So they had again. So who do they have on their podcast? Nick Fuentes.
Jesus Christ.
Who is Nick Fuentes? Fuentes is what you gonna say?
The fucking worst.
Yes, he's an open white supremacist Nazi. He's an open nigger hard R. He don't like black people. He don't like Jewish people. Embracing white supremacy at all levels. He's open about this. And what has it done for him? It's opened mad doors for this dude. He's with Kanye West, flying private jets to go visit Trump, had dinner with Donald Trump, and now this podcast with these so-called people of color, where it's like a room full of these really black and brown people, women, they're all at the table. And then this is what happened. Can you just play that clip?
I thought we wasn't playing a clip.
I don't think we should play it. I
don't. You don't want to play it?
I don't want to play the clip.
I don't want to play it.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, they encourage him to say the word nigger.
And it just reminds me of what's his face on Spotify,
Who?
Joe Rogan, who's like, just say it.
Yes.
I don't understand.
Well, let me just, before you get into it, they encourage him to say the word nigger, which he does with a hard R, and they're laughing.
And there's one black girl on camera who was like shaking her head in disgust, but as you pointed out, she still was on the show and took pictures.
They took pictures with him. They actually, this podcast actually took his clip and put it in Times Square, like had it playing in Times Square. So once again, here is a white guy, you know what I'm saying, who is an open white supremacist Nazi, and he's a celebrity. There's no consequences that he's facing. I guess that for really any of his actions.
I guess that really is kind of like the definition of the grandeur of America that Miracle was just talking about.
Yes.
Like, you can come here.
Yeah.
Fuentes, is he born here?
Probably. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But he's white.
And just champion Hitler and become a superstar in 2023.
Yes.
Like, what world? This is why I'm saying, fuck these niggas. I'm going to space.
Yes. You were saying Miracle. I just wanted to put it in context. You know what I'm saying?
No other group of people besides black people are told to take disrespect.
Yes.
And make it a joke and make it something profitable.
Yes.
Y'all get mad when gay people cancel people.
Yeah.
Y'all get mad when Jewish people cancel people.
Yeah.
Y'all get mad when all these other people with their agendas cancel people. But here is someone being an anti-black bigot, and not only do you bring him on your podcast, you promote and support and push him to be his full, authentic, bigoted self.
Yeah.
This is why Harriet Tubman did what she did, because you can't save everybody, number one. But this is why people are always going to be able to make fun of and disparage black people, because we do not have a sense of self and self-worth enough to stop this in its tracks.
Yeah.
It should have been, remember that one podcast that guy was talking, and he said something, and that person just bopped him in the face?
Yes.
Like, that's what should have happened. Violence is not always the end.
Yes.
Sometimes
depends on the question.
It's the correct solution. But, this has to be stopped. A lot of people like to rage farm black people, black pain, and black suffering.
Absolutely.
And it's despicable and it's disgusting. And we're talking about moving beyond race. If we're moving beyond race, why do we have to be disparaged as such?
Right.
Because I guarantee you he wasn't calling other people, other nationalities slurs. They didn't put that up in Times Square.
Right. Well, I think, again, it's like, are other nationalities, and he has disparaged other nationalities. He doesn't like Jewish people as well. But are other nationalities going to bring him into their space and encourage him to say derogatory things about their own ethnicity or nationality? And then like laugh and joke about it? It's like, but again, for a lot of these people, the video views, the YouTube, you're like, it's worth it. It's worth having this dude on. And again,
Content
it's like,
everything.
And again, it's like he's treated as a celebrity. Like, he's walking around, he's laughing and joking, he's taking pictures with these black people, he's flying around with Kanye West, he's getting money. Like, he's a successful, bigoted Nazi. And it's like, only in America.
And it's
only in America.
There are some people who be like, in order to stop the power of the word, you got to stop the word impacting you. That's not even what that was.
No.
It wasn't even a conversation where, like, you're going to call me a slur and I'm going to laugh in your face because you're that weak and pathetic.
Right.
This was you literally amping up, putting batteries in this man's back.
Yes.
And I'm just appalled. And my sister, I can understand you got a contract, whatever, that's your job to be at that podcast. You didn't have to take pictures with them.
No.
You didn't have to post and promote it. You could have been like, I got to take a phone call.
Yeah.
There's always an opt-out reason, and it's just vile.
So, Miracle, I did have another question.
Okay.
Because, we were off last week. Mm-hmm. And last week we saw this tremendous shift in the Supreme Court, right? We saw the Supreme Court strike down affirmative action when it comes to, for black people, right? Not affirmative action for white people. Like, that still exists all over the place, right? Mm-hmm. So, quote unquote, race-based admissions in colleges are struck down. However, you can still have legacy admissions in the colleges. We saw, LGBTQIA rights pushed back over a fake case. We watched them refuse to allow student debt to be canceled. And then another story comes out about Clarence Thomas with more billionaires getting more money. You know, there were stories about Alito and his wife and their them getting money. Like, I just don't. I mean, is this? We just got to accept that these are the Supreme Court decisions and these are going to be court members for life. It just doesn't seem like I'm seeing enough outrage about this, or am I bugging?
I think that there is outrage on the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court's actions. The issue is you are according to ethics, you cannot disparage judges. So that allows for judges to do some things and not really be held to the full account. The problem is that there is not ethics standards for Supreme Court judges. All other level of judges has an ethics standard they have to uphold and abide by. There are some minimal ones for the Supreme Court judges. That's why we get to know that they have to report if people are giving them money or trips and stuff, which apparently they were not all on the same page about. But what's going on is people are literally almost buying these votes,
buying these judges,
and taking them on trips and getting them flued out. And it's just like, you can't do that. And so people
they're doing it though.
People are losing their interest in the Supreme Court,
but not only are they
the
doing
legitimacy of these opinions. And so the Supreme Court and Chief Justice Roberts is like, don't disparage the court. We're still doing good things, but they are not being honest. They are being beholden to special interests, and they are literally have been accused of shopping their opinions to special interest groups before they're being published. And so once again, it's just, we're watching this deteriorate. The Federalist Society has been cultivating attorneys for years for this very reason. They have been developing attorneys for this very reason. And so it is despicable that it's happening and that these Supreme Court judges have our lives and our rights in their hands. And people have every reason to push back. I know the Debt Collective has been very honest about pushing back around the decision to cancel the student debt forgiveness. I know the NAACP and others are trying to push back and fight about legacy admissions. So a lot of things are happening. And so we have to organize and continue to organize the judiciary. But until they change and get these Supreme Court justices an ethics standard, some things are going to have to change.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because we are watching like billionaires buy these Supreme Court justices, and they're actually voting on the cases with interest to these billionaires. Like, how else what else can we surmise except for that your vote was paid for, bought and paid for? And particularly when it's like more evidence, come on, your mom's house, your kid, I don't know. I mean, it's just, wow. It's a lot. It's a lot happening. It's a lot going on. And I guess any other comments about Clarence Thomas?
Uncle Thomas.
Uncle Clarence Thomas. I mean, yeah, it's wild. With that being said, do we have any, did we do this Black Pages, by the way? Did we do Viral Justice?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so this is our Black Pages of the week.
Our what?
Did I say Black Page?
Yeah.
Twice. I've been saying things wrong this whole podcast, so I gotta allow you.
We on Black Pages now. That's for us.
Yeah.
It's our white pages, and we use the term.
That cover. What's that say?
It says viral justice. We use the term white pages like if you want to do any deeper discovery around these issues. We know the racists are not going to read. We know that off the gate. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I know they clearly are reading. Just not the books that we're recommending.
The real white pages.
Yeah.
So, viral justice, how we grow the world we want, and this is I'm assuming I'm pronouncing Rua.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Rua Benjamin. And praise for viral justice. Roy Benjamin is one of our sharpest, most expansive thinkers on the manifold inequalities of the current order. Jelani Cobb, Angela Davis, encourage you to read this book, Viral Justice, How We Grow the World We Want. That is a beautiful cover. So shout out to, let's grow. Obviously, this world is gone. This world is terrible. Like, we need to start growing the world we want.
I'm okay. I'm okay with the flood, the locusts. Just bring it all on. Let's just get this shit over with now.
Nah, it's already like 90 degrees every day. It's yes. But what we're doing at One Hood to grow the world we want, we are relaunching July 21st. We back. Fridays on deck.
Yeah, I didn't know where you were going.
Fridays on deck is coming back. We're going to be back at Liberty Green. We did this last summer where we went to Liberty Green Park in Pittsburgh every Friday with DJs, with food trucks, with crumble cookies, and with activities for the young people. So we'll be back down there starting July 21st from 6 to 9 p.m. Hope to see you there.
Yes, if you're visiting in from out of town and you're in Pittsburgh and you want to see what real community organizing and engagement looks like, you know what I mean? I was just saying, like,
pop your collar, bro.
I'm gonna talk heavy in it.
Come over to One Hood, bro.
Just pull up, see people, black people really being happy and being able to revel in their own joy, and that's what we're supporting.
Oh, that's beautiful. And we are going to be in Chicago
for what?
For Netroots Nation.
Oh, damn.
Because Miracle has a workshop that she's doing centering Black joy. Am I right, Miracle?
It doesn't bring me joy, but it's at 9 a.m. on Saturday. So talking about creating joy and setting boundaries.
Yes.
And, for joy.
Yes. Yes.
We appreciate joy over here. We
Absolutely.
celebrate.
Yes.
We celebrate joy.
Yes.
And one thing that we have coming up on Thursday
is Netroots.
We're also looking for Netroots, but it's a special person's, born
day. Oh, snap!
A king was born.
A king was born. Yes,
a king. Birthday celebration.
King
we want to talk about.
Thursday is Trouble Day.
Trouble Day, absolutely.
You feel me? 27 years ago,
yes,
a legend was born.
Come on, baby.
Me?
A legend was born.
Here. I'm just resting, you know what I'm saying? So
beautiful.
Don't email me, don't text me.
Oh, what is this? What is this now? We are celebrating Trouble Day.
Oh, niggas love surprises.
We always
shit.
Next level sweets. Next level sweets.
It's your birthday.
Wow. Happy birthday, Trouble. Let's go. We always have an ice cream and cake on this. Oh, wait. Don't leave Jasmine because you also, Jasmine Green, who's our director.
You want to come explain what you're doing at Netroots?
You have a workshop at Netroots Nation as well.
Yes, I'm talking about organizing joy, standing in the gap when policy fails, using our example at Fridays on Deck to talk about how people can replicate things like that in their own community.
And that's when?
That's going to be on Saturday.
Saturday, what time?
I believe 6 o'clock. I'm going to double check.
Okay, so Saturday we got two. We bringing joy to Netroots. You know what I'm saying? That's what we doing. You know what I'm saying? So catch us at Netroots. We about to have some cake and celebrate Trouble Day a little early. With that being said, any final comments?
Let's get out of here.
Love, peace, joy, and happiness.
Peace. We'll see y'all next week. One Hood, y'all.